Hello and welcome.
To the Delusional Boyfriend Book Club, where if shipping One Piece characters is wrong, I don't want to be right. My name's Courtney,
And I'm Wolf.
and we'll be your hosts. And today we're talking about One Piece Volume 2. This is going to be another episode in the East Blue series, and we meet a couple really important characters from this volume, and I'm really excited to get into it. So, we start out this manga where we left off last week, which was meeting Nami, right?
Yep.
How did you feel like this introduction for Nami? Did you like it? Did you feel like we got to know her a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, you get a you get a glimpse of her. Because I mean, it's not the next books are going to focus more on her, but we get a small glimpse about what she's really into, and that's being a thief.
And tangerines. She likes money and
Yeah.
tangerines. That she has that really important line in this volume where she says, "I like money and tangerines." And if you watch the anime, you know this is like going to be very central to her code and her character and what she cares about. So we get to town and she is running away from the buggy pirates, and Luffy in the last at the end of the last volume had knocked them all out basically in one punch. So we pick up here with the two of them kind of walking around this abandoned town, and they're kind of wondering where all of the people are at and what's going on. And Nami is in the works of coming up with a plan to trick Luffy into helping her. So she asks him if he'll like go for a walk. She grabs a rope. He's like, "What are you doing with that rope?" She's like, "Yo, don't worry about it." I just carry a rope with me.
She always carries a rope with her.
She's so funny because she just doesn't care who she's tricking. She lies like it's breathing, and she immediately wraps up Luffy and drags him tied up in a rope to Buggy the Clown. And she makes up a lie saying that she was sick of her boss. She thought he was really stupid and she wanted to get rid of him. So Buggy says, "You can join my crew." And she thinks to herself, "It's so easy to infiltrate these stupid pirates." So at that point, they start throwing a pirate party for Nami, and she's drinking, and we learn that she can drink anybody under the table.
Oh yeah. Apparently, she's got a high alcohol tolerance, and she's able to outdrink pirates. I don't know.
Is that like true in the anime? Is that something that comes back time and time again?
Not really, to be honest, but I
Okay.
mean, it's interesting because the more I'm rereading these beginning ones, it's funny because there's a lot of concepts that, or a lot of like personality concepts that like he touches on, but then he doesn't really go back to necessarily. But I mean, they are pirates, so Nami can definitely drink. I don't know. There's a bunch of examples, and that's definitely one where it's like Nami's a can floor down the pirates with drinking.
Which I loved. I love
Yeah.
that in a girl character. And I will also say that she has a long staff, which she has underneath her skirt, basically in like a garter belt situation. So she has three long sticks of wood, and when she whips them together, they turn into one long stick. And I, like I said, have gotten pretty far in the anime, and I feel like maybe I'm stupid, but I just don't remember her having that weapon all the time. It was fun to see her use that.
I mean, it definitely
Does it come back?
no, it's just rare because Nami really doesn't get in a lot of fights in the show, and so
Hmm.
like it's one of those things where like it episode like 900. I know she definitely has the staff, but like also there's a lot that goes in between because I mean she is the navigator and eventually she kind of does some like weather control and like that's kind of the thing with the staff is that like she can I mean but that's not this staff. So it's like she has a staff but like it's not really a prevalent thing that she normally uses, but she uses it in this one.
And it was really fun to watch her in this
Mhm.
one. It was pretty badass. And then, so basically, when they're throwing this party, Nami is pretending slash kind of actually betraying Luffy. He's in a cage watching all of them. And once the pirates are all drunk, Buggy tells her, "In order to gain my trust, you have to kill him." And
Yeah.
she did not expect to have to do that. So
She's
she
which is also not Nami's character is that she's not a murderer. She's like a thief.
Yes. So she doesn't think she's going to have to kill anybody. And when she's faced with that problem, she starts sweating. And Luffy says, "You can't come in here as a pirate. You can't come in here with half conviction and expect to beat all these pirates." And she said, "Is conviction being ready to kill a man who doesn't deserve it?" And he said, "No, conviction is being willing to risk your own life for whatever you're after." And so she takes that piece of advice and she realizes, okay, if I want to get the map, because she's looking for a map to the Grand Line. And we're starting to get a little bit of her backstory, which is that she is headed towards an island, maybe her home island, and that pirates in general have ruined her childhood or her life or hurt somebody that she loves. So we know she is kind of trying to get back on her own mission, maybe to get revenge or to save some people she cares about, whatever. So she
Yeah,
wants,
and throughout this book, all she says is like, "The pirate, I don't like pirates. They took someone from me. They ruin everything." So it's kind of like her big three like bullet points.
yeah. So she is on her own mission, and basically, Buggy has a map that can help her get there. So she was willing to risk Luffy. And when he says, you have to be willing to risk your own life, she realizes, okay, I have to recalibrate. Otherwise, I'm going to be breaking my own code. And we were talking the other day just about how good Oda is at writing these codes for these characters. And we meet a couple different characters in this volume who do have a really specific code. Like there is a lion tamer who won't hurt his own lion, but will hurt other animals, like will hurt dogs and hurt everybody else, but he won't hurt his own lion. So everyone has their own code, certain things that they'll do and certain things that they won't do. And I remember I had a creative writing teacher in college who tried to explain how important a character having a code is. And he said, I love this example so much. He said, some characters, some people in the real world, they will hit and run a child and go on their day, not even sweat it, not even think about it, but they would never cheat on their golf game because that's what makes them a man, is being honest about their golf game and being good at golfing, even though they have no morality and no code when it comes to other people or hurting other people.
Hmm.
So I love that because it does show you that a code doesn't need to make sense to everybody, and it doesn't even need to abide by a moral compass. It just has to be consistent. It's what people actually do in real life. They have certain things that are off limits and certain things that they're willing to bend and tweak and lie and be shady about. And that's what makes each one of us either trustworthy and admirable or shady and conniving. And so the buggy pirates, as we go through this, we're starting to get a sense that they're shady and the codes that they stand for maybe aren't very good codes. They don't show that they're very good men or good pirates. Whereas Luffy, even though he's a pirate just like them, he's starting to distinguish himself from Nami because he has a moral code that protects others. It protects the innocent and it beats up the bad guys, and that's his code.
Yeah, I mean, and even though she doesn't want to be a pirate, like she said many times, she's starting to understand Luffy's code more and more throughout the book. And so then you start. I mean, there's many instances that we'll go through, but like she starts to understand that Luffy isn't a bad pirate.
And Luffy learned how to be a pirate from Shanks, who has his own moral code. So when Luffy hears her say, like, all pirates are bad, they're just about pillaging, yada, yada, in his head, that's only a small fraction of the pirates he knows. He knows a ton of good pirates. And so he is kind of on his own mission to win over Nami, even though she continues to stab him in the back. So he's sitting in a cage and he says, forget about joining my crew. And then she walks over and tells him she doesn't want to kill him. And he's like, maybe you're not so bad. You can still join my crew. And she says, I don't even want to join your crew, but I am going to help get you out of here. Basically, Luffy is sitting in this cage and Nami is tasked with killing him by the buggy pirates. We learn that her code does not let her kill people. I don't know if she ever kills a lot of people at all, but she definitely isn't going to kill an innocent man. So she starts to think about what she can do.
Yeah, I don't think up to this. I mean, it seems like up to this point, she's really not killed a lot of people, and
Yeah.
it's more of a she's just a thief trying to, like she says, she's a thief trying to buy an island.
Yes. And Luffy had asked her, so you're just here pillaging all of these villagers' homes. And she says, no, I would never steal from the villagers' homes. I'm here to steal from pirates. I do not take from the villagers. I am not a common thief. I have this code I abide by, which is only to steal from pirates and to get my revenge on pirates. It doesn't have to be the same pirate who got us and my loved ones, but any pirate will do. So basically she is standing behind the cannon. One of the other buggy pirates lights the fuse and she's finally has to reveal herself to not actually be a pirate wanting to join the Buggy Pirates. And she runs over, grabs the fuse with both hands, and burns her hands as she gets the fuse to stop being lit. And this shows that she absolutely was a faker. She wasn't trying to join them. Buggy gets furious and he has all of his pirates start to attack her. And that's when she whips out her staff and starts to kick their asses, which is really fun. And she's actually cleaning up on them,
Yeah, it's like a 7 versus 1. It's not very fair.
and she is winning, like very much so. And then who shows up to save the day but Zoro? And where was Zoro before this? Lost at sea.
Yeah, he was lost at sea. He picked up those 3 crew members, and then he kind of gets to port late, and then conveniently gets there in the nick of time.
It's so cute. So he runs in and he has his swords out and stops all of the buggy pirates and says, all of you to defeat one girl. And that's where we start to see that Nami can hold her own. Zoro is going to help Nami out, but he's already very impressed with her abilities. And then Zoro takes the cannon and he flips it over. Oh no, not yet. So Zoro meets Buggy the Clown at this point,
Yes.
and Buggy notices him.
Well, Zoro, because this whole first arc takes place in the East Blue, and so Zoro has made a name for himself being a pirate hunter, and so he's like one of those. Most of the beginning pirates we're gonna meet in these beginning books, they know who Zoro is because he's Zoro the pirate hunter, and Buggy is the same way, where he hears Zoro's name and he says, "Oh, you're Zoro the pirate hunter. You must be here for me."
Yep. So he immediately starts to fight Zoro, and Zoro gets his 3 swords out and slices him into bits. And he thinks, that was really easy. And all the buggy pirates are laughing hysterically. And they're a bunch of clowns. So our crew is thinking, they're so creepy. Why aren't they sad that their boss just got killed?
Yeah, and even Nami says that, like, they just watched their captain die in
They have
front
no
of them.
loyalty.
Yeah.
And then Zoro's stabbed in the back because Buggy is not dead. Buggy is a chop chop man, which means he ate a devil fruit like Luffy, and his body cannot be killed by being sliced open. So if he gets his body parts like detach basically. So when he was sliced up by Zoro, his one hand was just free roaming with a sword, and Zoro didn't see this knife coming to stab him in the back. So it's a dirty move, but I will say that Zoro shouldn't have let his guard down, because he's just not really, he killed him so easily. He knew that it was too good to be true, and he doesn't really do anything to, I guess, like verify that he's dead. So I was mad at Zoro at this point, but he's young and he's going to be the world's best swordsman, so he needs to learn a couple hard lessons.
Well, I mean, he chops him in like 4 or 5, like in half, pretty much, and then like he's assuming he's dead. But yes,
And but like your dad is a fierce warrior and he always says double tap. So I'm like, maybe you should have stabbed him through the eyeballs. So we have, I don't know if Buggy can be killed by being stabbed in the eyeballs, but he should have tried. So he is now brutally injured.
yeah.
And Luffy is still in the cage, and we are all in massive danger. Nami is kind of just like running around trying to find an escape route.
Yeah, I mean, well,
She's not a ton of help.
no, she is. I mean, what she's doing is she's doing thief things because she gets the key to the cage where Luffy's in, but like,
Oh, because she's looking for that map. So as all this chaos is going on, she does get the key. She's trying to get him out. Zoro takes after he's stabbed, he takes the cannon and flips it back towards the bad pirates, and it shoots them all away. So in that moment, even though his guts are bursting out, he gets up her hand and then he grabs the cage that Luffy's in, and Luffy says, Zoro, don't do it. Your guts will fall out. And he says, don't worry, I'll shove them back in if they fall out. And this is my favorite panel in this whole volume for sure. If you guys are not watching on YouTube, make sure that you follow us on YouTube because we will show some panels. Anyways, this is one of my favorite panels, and it's Zoro. It shows Zoro bursting at his seams. Basically, his wound is exploding with blood, and he says, I do things my own way. I'll just shove them back in if they fall out, referring to his guts. So, Zoro, very hot in this episode. Very, very hot. He drags the cage with Luffy in it down to the ground level, and then he passes out. And he says, I just need to rest for a bit. So now this is where we learn.
that's kind of his go-to medicine is just sleep. second.
And he's like the sleepiest guy in the world. He's always sleeping on, if you're watching the anime, like he's constantly sleeping on the boat. And it was really fun to find that in the manga, like the origin of all of that. Like this is basically his first time taking a nap. And
Yeah.
the mayor of the town shows up. Luffy's stuck in the cage. Nami's running around, and the mayor named Boodle shows up, and they all ask him, "Who the hell are you?" And he says, "I'm the mayor of this town. The rest of the townspeople are in a refugee,
Yeah.
basically, and they're hiding from the buggy pirates. But I came back to check on this dog here, and there's like a little white dog sitting outside of this pet food store,
Mhm.
and the mayor feeds the little dog. The dog, Luffy kind of pokes at him, and the dog bites Luffy. And we get some backstory, which is that everyone in the town is
The
scared.
dog's name's Mushu, right?
No, the
Or no, what's his name? It's
it's Shushu.
Shushu. That's what it is.
So we have a white dog named Shushu, we have a mayor named Boodle, and we get a bit of backstory, which is that all of the other townspeople are gone, but this dog will not leave his post because his owner died of some kind of sickness. And his owner, the last thing he said to the dog was, "Protect our store while I'm in the hospital." So he will not move from his post. He has bad injuries because the pirates have been picking on him, and he's been protecting the store this whole time. And Luffy starts to kind of have a connection to this dog, even though it bit him, and wants to figure out why he loves this store so much. And the mayor says, "I think he loves it because it's his treasure. It's the last thing left of his owner, and it's really special to him, so you could never get him to leave." And treasure is something all these pirates understand. And some of these pirates understand treasure to be gold and silver, and some of these pirates understand treasure to be things you hold dear, your friendships, um,
Personal items.
and well, the people you love.
Well, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Something that means something to you, and more than just gold and
And
diamonds.
exactly. So Nami, she loves stealing, she loves treasure, but she asks Luffy why he's so protective of his hat. And he says, "Well, it's my treasure." And she
Yeah.
said, "How could it be your treasure? It's raggedy and banged up. Do you have a map in there?" And he says, "No, because maps are Nami's treasure. She's a navigator." And she says, "Well, what's so important about it then?" And he says, "It's my treasure because my friend gave it to me." So Luffy understands things that other people don't care about meaning a lot to you. So he has an affinity for this dog already. And the mayor is here, very pissed off and ready to confront Buggy. He's seen all these other kids like kind of basically go toe to toe with the pirates. They're here. And then we have our lion tamer character coming down. And Luffy is just stuck in this cage. He's already been bitten by this dog. And when the lion tamer comes down, his name is Moji.
Mhm.
And he is Captain Buggy's like third man in the ranks.
Second man.
I thought the acrobat was his right hand man.
No, Moji is the second one to
In
join.
command. So we've got a lion tamer who is riding a lion, and he comes down and immediately is like, "Oh, I'll tame that dog." And the dog bites him. Luffy is laughing hysterically and is like, "Oh no, you can't tame him. He's a guard dog. He's guarding this place." And Moji basically swats Luffy's cage away, kicks him into the nethers,
Yep.
and Luffy's like actually all the way across town from this attack by this lion and the lion tamer. So when that happens, his cage breaks and Luffy is set free and he starts kind of like walking back towards where they are. In the meantime, the dog has been fighting off Moji and his giant lion as best as he
Mhm.
can, but he is losing. He's all beaten up, he's battered, and then
It's a small dog versus like
a
a
lion,
yeah, but this is like a big lion.
a huge lion,
Like
like a
the
monster.
yeah, like the dude's riding on him. He's like a massive lion.
He's like big as the buildings are in this story.
This is like a lap dog versus
Exactly.
that.
So we have Moji and his lion seeing that the pet food store is what they're protecting. They go in, eat a bunch of the pet food, and then burn it down. So by the time Luffy gets back, it's all burning to the ground. He sees the injured puppy
He gets pissed.
and he is furious. This is last straw. We see what happens, and he does a crazy, he like stretches his arms out, and Moji sees him and goes, "What's going on? Are you some kind of freak?" And he's like, "I'm a rubber man." So he gum gavels him,
Yep, gobble.
and it like basically slams him down so hard onto the ground that the lion and the lion tamer are both out of commission for a moment. And he's like, "Oh no, he's eaten a devil fruit. Please spare us." And Luffy says, "It's too late for that. this dog can never have his treasure back, which means your apologies mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
And he beats him, and then he grabs one dog box of dog food, which is the last thing there is, and he sets it in front of the puppy. And I will say, Wolf and I have been like quitting smoking weed, quitting smoking tobacco. And one night we were like just having the roughest night. And I was watching One Piece alone and I was rewatching this first season. And I happened to watch this episode with the dog and I sobbed because, first of all, no one wants to see a puppy get hurt. That's like so sad. And then, secondly, the idea that sometimes people we love leave us and
Mm.
we treasure material objects that they left behind
Well, and
to keep them in our life.
yeah, no, and you get like in this scene, you get like a lot of like heartfelt moments between like the master and the dog.
It
It's like
flashes
it's
back.
like he's like getting sick, but he doesn't know that. But like they've created a shop together and a life together, and they're not the best store in town, but like they have something nice for both of them.
Something that's worth protecting to them.
Yeah.
And it just reminds you that, yeah, like a lot of times we treasure things because they remind us of people, even when those people are gone. And then if we lose that last remnant of them and all we have is ashes, we have to move on. We can't even cling to that thing anymore. And this dog is going through that. And we've had just like some loss in our life. And we're letting go of a lot of things from our 20s as we go into our 30s and are ready to become parents. And it's just hard to let go of something you cared about for so long and move on to a new chapter. And that's what this dog does. He picks up his dog food box and he walks over to the refugee and he joins his village again.
Mhm.
And it's important because he is back in society. He's like back with his friends. But it is sad because it's a final letting go of this past and an acceptance that he's needs to rebuild the future. And this whole town has to let go of the town they used to love that they built together because Buggy has destroyed it. And they have to gather their strength, not cry about the ashes anymore, and instead rebuild and be strong. And it's like just goes to show you how important this silly little pirate show is and this little pirate book. It has a lot of deep meaning, and I really loved it. So after,
No, but it's I mean it's in sorry to cut you
oh,
off.
you're fine.
No, but it's important too because I mean this is it shows Nami that Luffy is actually a good guy in this
Absolutely.
moment because he didn't do it for the good of treasure or like anything like that. He did it for the dog, and like that's and while the dog, like a dog is just a dog, but to Luffy it's much more. It's a friend.
Yep.
It's something that like he cared about, and it's his shop, and like Luffy says, like I didn't see your fight with the lion, but I know you did good, and like it's one of those things where like it proves to Nami that Luffy isn't a bad, or it starts. I guess it doesn't prove all the way, but it starts to prove to Nami that Luffy's not necessarily a bad pirate, and he actually does a lot of things for people rather than for wealth and power.
And it is another example. So as we go through One Piece, and I'm just starting to notice this as we're reading the book and I'm rewatching the anime, Luffy's code is also to let his crew members fight their own battles
Yeah,
because it is part of like building your own confidence and also it's part of like being on your own mission and your own journey even if you're on a crew to be allowed to fight those battles and grow as a person and learn what your limitations and your strengths are without your captain always stepping in. So it was fun because he did let that dog fight enough of his battle. He except the one person he does not let fight a battle is this Mayor Boodle because he's an old guy and he is kind of getting in the way. So
he comes in with a lot of emotion, and
yes,
so he's like he
he wants to protect his people and
yeah.
that's important to him, but also Luffy wants to protect that guy. He's not going to let him sacrifice his life when Luffy knows that his crew is going to be able to take it. So,
No, and he says I like the old man. I won't let him die.
yep, so he does knock out the old man, which Nami is mad about. She's like, "You can't hurt the old guy." And Luffy is trusting that Nami will understand this is for the old guy's own good. His pride wouldn't let him step down from this fight, but Luffy cares less about pride and cares more about people being protected. So he protects him by knocking him out. And then we see Buggy coming in. Zoro is getting ready to fight. And this is when we meet I thought this was the second in command, maybe he's third in command. And his name is, what is it? Kabaji. Kabaji the acrobat. I think that's how you say his name.
Kowaji, but yeah, it's like yeah,
There it is.
it's
So he's an acrobat. He's on a unicycle. Let's get this out there. He's pretty hot. I think he's pretty hot. He's got like black emo hair. He has his knives, like knives that he is like in are in his mouth. He can blow fire. He has a bunch of crazy circus tricks.
If you were born in '95, you probably think he was hot because that was when you grew up with the emo bands and stuff.
I thought he was really hot because that's definitely my era. So I thought he was super cute. Like he literally has emo side bangs.
But also, this guy, for the kids out there, this guy is on a unicycle with swords.
Okay, yes,
Not the
that's
best,
not hot.
not the best. I don't know.
In real life, not your best strategy to pick up
Don't run with
ladies.
scissors, but really don't be on a unicycle with swords. That's like the next quote. That's like the next thing after that.
Yeah, you're so ready to be a dad with all this great advice. Don't be on a unicycle with swords, son. Anyways, so we see him enter into the scene, and with the lion tamer already knocked out, Luffy has fought a little battle. It's now time for Zoro to get back on his feet. It's funny because we forgot to mention this, but Zoro had been let to lay down in one of the houses, and Buggy blows up all of the houses with a cannonball. And Zoro says, "Well, that's quite the alarm clock." And he gets up and he says, "I'm actually ready to be back at it. That was enough time for all my wounds to
Not a
heal."
scratch on him.
Yeah, he's ready to go. There is absolutely still a massive wound in his stomach, and he is going to have to fight through that pain. So Nami at this point says, "You boys can take this. I'm out of here. I'll find you when you win, and I'll look for the map, and we can go into the Grand Line. If you win, maybe I'll join you."
And that's par for the core Nami's whole thing throughout the show is like, you boys fight the fights, I'll do the rest.
Yes. So she runs away. And honestly, I love her because she's way smarter than these other two.
Mm.
So she does know she's thinking two steps ahead. If they're going to win, we're going to need the boat ready to go. We're going to need to get the map. We're going to have to do all this stuff. So she's out of here. Zoro is going to have to take on the unicycler. And he immediately, almost immediately, cuts himself open. And the unicycler is like, "Oh, I see. You want a good excuse for when you lose, that your injuries were so bad you couldn't stand a chance. That will protect your reputation." And Zoro says, "No, you have it wrong. I am handicapping myself because you're so weak. Basically, I should give you a little bit of an upper hand. And also, if I'm not able to beat someone as weak as you, even with some light injuries like this, then I shouldn't even be on this mission to be the best swordsman."
He says he should just give up.
Yep. So he cuts himself, he's bleeding everywhere. And then we see Kabaji like throwing all these circus tricks at him. And at one point, Zoro says, "I'm done. I'm tired." And he says, "Oh, quitting already." And he said, "No, you got me wrong. I'm tired of your circus tricks." And then his finishing move is the onigiri, and he
Yeah.
slices this guy up, and the acrobat is Dunzo. I think he comes back in later seasons, so he's not totally killed.
Yeah, I mean, he's not killed. He definitely comes back, but his role is smaller for the rest of the show. Because I mean, this is like the first pirate crew they actually go against besides Alvita. And so it's one of those things where I got I had to look up to see if we saw Mochi the Moji the beast
Lion
the
tamer.
lion tamer back because I couldn't remember, but you eventually see some of Buggy's crew and Buggy eventually down the road, so they come back.
And I would guess that Buggies just has this like big crew, and it's probably one of the most fun crews to draw because they're all circus characters. So I'm sure other people get a moment in the spotlight as well with their cool circus acts. So after that is done, we see Buggy coming in, and Buggy did try to interfere twice. He tried to throw one of his chop chop hands into the fight. Luffy steps on it, and Luffy says, "Do not interfere with their duel. This is mano y mano." And I really like Luffy for this because
Mhm.
every time somebody propositions or challenges somebody to a fight, Luffy is ready to see who the clear victor is in a clean fight. And that's his code. He wants people to fight and the winner will be the winner, but he doesn't really like cheating and he doesn't like dirty moves.
Yeah.
And so he stops that. And then another time, Buggy shoots. Well, this is at the end of Zoro's fight. Buggy shoots a buggy ball, which is a cannon, right into Luffy. And we see Luffy's other cool move of this volume, which is Gum Gum Balloon.
Mhm.
And he balloons up and the ball shoots into his belly and then ricochets back at Buggy.
you almost I almost never see Gavel, the first move he used against the lion, but you're gonna see Gum Gum Balloon quite a bit throughout the show.
because it protects the boat from cannonballs all the time. And this is like a very helpful skill because
That and him and punches and like it's just
yeah,
it's a rebound. It's like a it just reshoots it back at them.
in the anime there's a really fun scene where they're basically like going through a crevice with the boat, or they're like going almost going to hit something with the boat, and he gum gum balloons like a buoy in between the boat and the other object so that it doesn't get scraped up.
Yeah.
So gum gum balloon is very useful. So far we have gum gum gavel, gum gum balloon, gum gum pistol, and gum gum rocket. And gum gum rocket is where he like shoots himself, or kind of like uses his hands like a whatever those things are, where
Grappling hook.
a grappling hook. Yeah. So those are our
Was,
current.
was that the word you were
Yeah,
looking
that
for?
was really good. So those are our current gum gum moves from the Rubber Man, and I do really like when he calls himself the rubber. I'm a Rubber Man. He's so cute. So and oh my gosh, we did get one panel where Luffy's arm is drawn so jacked with like all these veins. It's so muscly and it's really hot. And that's my first manga moment of thinking Luffy is cute, which was very fun. And then there's lots of moments in this where Zoro's cute, several moments where Nami is very cute.
If you're a buggy girl or guy.
Absolutely. Buggy is sitting on a throne in one of the panels, and his legs are all man spread over. He's like got his legs all widespread, and I just picture myself between them. It's like Buggy is hot. I'll say it. Buggy's really hot. Even
He's a good looking dude.
even though he is very self-conscious of his big nose. And that's one thing we learn about Buggy. His code is to kill anybody who makes fun of his nose, which is quite funny. Buggy is like a bit of comic relief. This whole crew is a bit of comic relief. And all throughout this story, we're getting lots of silly Luffy moments where he's like chewing on the bars of the cage and making light of his ridiculous circumstances.
That's exactly one that's a character trait that I'm gonna bring up that you never see. There's no way that Luffy is eating through bars, but yet in this specific one, he's just like she's doing, just going and almost eats through all the bars. That never happens throughout the show.
He doesn't actually make any progress on the bars, but he's just like
They are
a wild animal.
They're like, I mean, like the bar was like this, and it gets down to a point where it's almost there. And I'm rereading this one. I was like, this has never happened in the show.
It's not his strength has nothing to do. Like he doesn't have stronger teeth than most people. But maybe his teeth are rubber teeth, and his teeth don't break easy. That's probably true.
Yeah, but if they're rubber teeth,
They would just be soft. Like they
like
wouldn't do any damage.
like an old man.
And
like
I don't think
dentures.
he wasn't able to do enough damage because he didn't get out of the cage until the cage was thrown into a wall and broke on its own.
Yeah.
So it is really fun to watch like Luffy's techniques develop as he is like getting more and more used to his rubber man abilities. He's had them for like 10 years, and every episode we see him evolve more and figure out what his body can do. It's also really funny because every time we meet new characters, they're always like, freak. And Nami does this. She thinks he's a freak. She doesn't really understand the devil fruits that much. So she didn't know about like the gum gum fruit. So she's kind of just like, what the fuck is going on here? She's also realizing that this person might be somebody to team up with because he has extraordinary abilities. So we end this fight with Buggy and Luffy challenging each other to their mano a mano duel.
And this manga.
What did I say?
You said end this fight.
End this fight. Yes, we end this volume
End this volume
with Buggy versus Luffy, and that's where we're gonna pick up in the next volume. But we also see that Nami is very much considering joining Luffy, and she even says to him, "Okay, let's say we'll join forces. Don't say I'm joining your crew because I don't want to be a pirate, but I will consider joining forces." And they kind of shake hands or do a little high five thing. So she's kind of halfway on board here. And we're getting the semblance of our crew together. So, with all of that being said, that wraps up our summary of this volume.
And it's funny because this volume's 60 pages shorter than the first one, but also this one goes by a lot faster just because this one's a lot more, and this is what it looks like.
Combat.
But it's a lot more combat, and so it kind of it goes by pretty quick. I mean, you read it in half an hour.
No, I didn't. I read it in an hour and a half. So it was pretty quick, though. I will say the first one had a lot more backstory exposition.
She's good at reading.
I am good at reading. I have a literature degree, but reading manga is usually pretty quick for me because I'll say Wolfgang pays so much attention to art. He's looking for details of facial expressions, background characters, things that might come up later in other in other volumes, I will miss art details because I'm just reading the words, and it's something I have to consciously tell myself is look for details. The artist is putting things in the art that aren't being said in the words.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot from Zoro's like splurts of blood coming out of him to see you have to notice those things because it's not exactly written in the dialogue. You have to be looking how injured is he, what's going on in the background, yada yada. So this was a very fun volume, but we are basically in a much smaller setting than the first one. We jumped around and moved. There's a lot of journeying in the first volume, and this volume we've just been in this village facing off against the buggy pirates. It was really fun to meet the buggy pirates. It was fun to meet Kabaji and the what is it, the other guys?
Moji.
Kabaji and Moji and Buggy himself. And then we've got some fun side characters. And we're starting to realize every village we're going to meet, we're going to have somebody like Mayor Boodle or the doggy that makes us care about that place and those people in a unique way, makes them personable. So that's pretty fun.
He's really good at filling out a world and
Yes.
like making it feel like this world is real.
And distinct from the
Yeah.
others because each island that we go to, basically, this whole world is covered in water, and uh, each people or each society is an island. So each one has to feel a little bit different than the others. And this one is a very new island that's been recently built by new settlers in the last 40 years in their community. And I think that's going to be a lot different than when we get to like the Arlong Park and like the Fish Head Islands. And we start seeing that there's like different people and species, even like different species across the world. So it's fun to start seeing the diversity and the variety that Oda's going to give us. Very fun. So with all of that being said, who was your delusional boyfriend from this volume?
Ooh, maybe Buggy. I mean, like, to be honest, like, and like,
I'm
well,
horrified.
no, but I mean, you right now, like, it's really if you were just to pick up this book, it's hard. Excuse me, it's hard to be a Buggy fan, but like Buggy comes in throughout the whole show and throughout the manga, and he's kind of a nice comedic relief. And so right now, he's not a good guy, and and that's okay. But like also, he's a really cool pirate. He's got the chop fruit.
He's hot.
Sure, I mean, but like also, he doesn't like people making fun of his nose. So he's got like a few things that are just like it's kind of funny. But like also, Buggy is like one of those dudes who he's just cool. And like I mean the way this one ends specifically is he says to Luffy as they're about to like fight, they're kind of like getting ready, and he goes, "You remind me of that guy. That hat of yours reminds me of him with the red hair that I used to sail with," and he's referring to Shanks. And so it kind of breaks down a little bit more in the next book about their relationship and everything, but Buggy is one of those characters, to me at least, Buggy is one of those characters where he this is kind of his starting ground, and you see him grow as a character throughout the entire One Piece series, and I like that.
I'm excited to see more of him because definitely in the anime, I've grown to like him when he shows up. I also really like when I see girls at anime conventions dress up as Buggy because they're
Oh,
like really hot clown girls. And I have a lot of I have a lot of girls that I follow who do cosplay, and it is very common to see a femme Buggy, and it's super, super, super hot. So I'm
it,
kind of furious with you in this episode for picking him because he's such a villain, but I also see where you're coming
well, I
from.
mean, it could be. I mean, technically, it could just be Nami, but like the thing is,
I thought you were gonna pick Nami
well,
because this
yeah,
is
but the thing is that why I'm not choosing Nami right now is because this isn't her episode.
no, and
And
she didn't like show like she's introduced, but we didn't see her most shining moments.
I'm sorry, mom, this isn't her manga.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like not like we're you get the briefest introduction of like her and her intentions, and honestly, she betrays Luffy, ties him up, and so it's like I love Nami, she's my day one, but we got introduced to Buggy, and I like Buggy.
I like Buggy, and I will say, let's ship some One Piece characters. Who do you think I ship with Buggy? I've told you this as soon as I saw it in the anime.
Shanks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You see them in their younger days. They did know each other. And I will say that there is a plethora of Buggy Shanks content out there. I am really excited to see how this comes up in the manga and if I can realistically picture them together when I get their backstory in this, because it is a little easier in the anime to ship people because you get maybe quicker glimpses of them. And here we're going to get a lot more dialogue, and I'll have to see, am I forcing the ship, or is there a possibility they have definitely kissed in the past?
Well, I mean, fun fact for you, you actually Buggy. So Shanks and Buggy used to be on a crew. Buggy and Shanks have not seen each other since they were young. And the day Shanks decided to leave that crew, even today in the show, Buggy and Shanks have not seen each other for at least like 10 years, 15 years. And so, like me personally, as a One Piece fan, I'm very much looking forward to Buggy and Shanks like meeting back up because like there's going to be a lot of
Kissing.
sure, there's going to be a lot of talking and like Shanks left on a good foot because he's a cool guy. Buggy is the one who was like a little bit like hurt that he left. And so that's like I'm very much so looking forward to that interaction one day.
And we definitely have like friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers going on here, because Buggy, you can tell, has he has a competition inside himself to be better than Shanks. So he really wants to find Shanks, and we don't know that Shanks even eh, cares at all where Buggy is in the world, but it's kind of like how Luffy is trying to find Shanks to show Shanks how much he's grown. I'm getting the sense also that Buggy needs Shanks to see how good of a pirate he's become in order to have a bit of that validation.
Shanks has name dropped him a few times. In the limited times you ever see Shanks, which is not a lot.
Whenever you see Buggy, he talks about Shanks. Yeah.
But both of them have Buggy's name dropped Shanks more than Shanks has, but Shanks has name dropped him in a significant way where you're like, he remembers.
If you Do you think that it's possible that there's real life romance between them, or do you think that's just all being delusional?
No. I mean, like when you actually watch the show and you read it, it's more of an I don't want to spoil a lot of it,
Stop.
but it's more of an admiration for I mean, they were both cabin boys on a very important ship. I'm not gonna spoil it, but they were both cabin boys on a very important ship. And so when he left, it's one of those things where they had talked about making their own crew together. And so when Shanks left to go make his own crew and did not take Bogey, there was a lot of emotions for him.
So, also, Wolf, and most BL, people have a hard time recognizing their feelings for somebody of the same gender as feelings like a crush. And they will oftentimes use the word you used, which is admiration. They will
Hmm.
think this is admiration until the day they realize this is more than admiration. I admire my father, I admire Goldie Roger, but I love Shanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more of a friendship because that's the way that One
We'll
Piece.
see.
I think it's more of a friendship because that's the way One Piece goes. But I mean, like, if they fall in love, awesome. I mean,
I love it.
that's cool because they've known each other since day one on a pirate crew.
I'm gonna get a Shanks and Buggy commission of like them kissing because I just love it so much. So, do
Put it
you
right in the background over there.
absolutely? Do you have any guesses for who my delusional boyfriend is this episode?
Who was yours last time? Was it
Shanks. We both picked Shanks last
okay?
time.
So maybe Zoro because of the arms.
Absolutely, it was Zoro. It was Zoro. It was Zoro. It was Zoro. It was the moment when he said, "I'll just shove my guts back in if they fall out." He's the biggest. He's the most manly man in the world.
That is quite a saying.
I'm obsessed with him. He is so masculine, and on top of that,
Coming from your BL world, that is that's quite the saying to say.
oh yeah, a man who doesn't mind his guts getting rearranged.
Shove my guts right back in after they come out. It's like, oh,
Ah, I love it. Rearrange my guts, daddy.
yeah.
And honestly, if this was a BL and it was Shanks and Buggy, I would say,
I'm sure someone's wrote it.
oh yeah, but in my head canon, I would say Shanks top, Buggy bottom, obviously. Is that too obvious? It'd be more fun if it was the other way around. But with Zoro, I don't ship Zoro with anybody yet because we haven't met the person I ship Zoro with, which is Laundry. But anyways, in this episode, he's definitely my delusional boyfriend. He cannot be kept down, even when his back is stabbed. He still throws Luffy's cage on top of his back, and he says, "I do things my own way." He absolutely cannot be beaten. He is making a fool of the acrobat by letting him think he's winning when Zoro hasn't even picked up his swords yet. He's not even started fighting. He is just letting the acrobat have a little fun before he kills him. So I
He
absolutely,
doesn't kill him, but
either way,
knocks him out.
I love Zoro. He's so cute. So how does your delusional boyfriend this time, Buggy, measure up to Shanks, which is your delusional boyfriend from last time? Who do you like better?
Oh, that's
Just at
a.
this point, you not with all of your knowledge, just at this point in the manga.
Oh, I mean, probably Shanks. There's
Okay.
it takes just based off of your question about on my knowledge. I was a big Ride or Die Shanks fan for like ever.
Yeah, he was your favorite for a long
Yeah,
time
and
until you
then
met Corazon.
well, yeah, but like a different character down the line. But like one of those things was like Buggy grows on you the more the series goes on, the more you read it because he's like I said, comedic relief, but also he just kind of shows up, and so you kind of like Luffy, you just kind of watch him grow up as a pirate and become like his own person in the show. And so like Shank or no, not Shanks, but Buggy grows on me as a character, and Shanks has always been there because he's
He
just
stars that up
well,
here.
he's so cool.
I would say that Zoro in this episode, last episode, I almost picked Zoro as my boyfriend, but he was kind of tied up to a post the whole time. But this episode, he definitely beats Shanks for me just because Shanks, we don't see him for that long. I love him. Shanks is definitely like an all-time delusional boyfriend just because of how good he treats Luffy and how good I'm sure he's going to treat Buggy and all the fan fictions that I read. But also, I would say Zoro, once he starts showing his shit, once he starts swinging them swords, you cannot deny. And he ties his little bandana on at one point in this manga. And holy shit, just like, so he's wearing a mask around his eyes, but it just makes him look very dark and broody, almost like he has a guy liner on. And then he just looks like so he looks so gangster with that fucking do-rag. I am so obsessed with him. He's so fucking hot. Then he's bleeding all over the place. He's covered in blood, which I really like. And he continuously is looking for Luffy, his captain. So we know that his number one priority is always keeping his captain safe.
Mhm.
And even though he wasn't a pirate before this, he understands like the hierarchy of the crew and his place on this crew, and that Luffy needs the strongest swordsman to protect him and make him the best pirate. And that's the only way he's ever going to be the best swordsman is if he protects the king of the pirates. Like that relationship goes both ways. So he's constantly looking out for Luffy. And I just feel like he's the guy, if you're like drunk at a party and the rest of your friends are off having fun and you're like running around being a danger to yourself, Zoro would find you and be like, no, no, no. I'm always kind of keeping an eye on you. And he's always kind of keeping an eye on Luffy to see if his captain is okay. He also is very like respectful and kind of admiring of Nami, but at the same time calls her out a little bit. And so he's not treating the woman much, if at all, differently than the man. And I like that about Zoro too,
Oh,
which
he's very
even
everybody's on the same level.
yes. So as we go on and meet some other characters, you'll see that their code is to treat women differently, but Zoro doesn't seem to have that code. In fact, he doesn't really seem to discriminate against people as far as like thinking they're strong or thinking they're weak based off of their gender. He's just kind of taking them at face value for who they are. So overall, really like that in a man. It's a good personality trait. He recognizes Nami when she's being smart, and he recognizes her when she's being betraying and a backstabber, and he calls her out in both situations. So I thought that was really cute and really fun. At this point, yeah, don't see him being shipped with Luffy, don't see him being shipped with Nami, don't see him being shipped with Buggy, but I am still waiting for my moment where I get Zoro and the boy that I think he belongs with. So really excited for that in the future. And I guess with all of that being said, do we have any more topics to touch on?
Just let me know who your favorite buggy pirate is if you're listening.
Oh, I have one. I have a figure to give Wolfgang. One second.
Or let me know who your favorite is though. Kabaji, Moji, or Buggy.
And now for the little end part here, I want to give Wolfgang one of the figurines I found. I always find these at Ross and they're always cheap. This one was $21. So if you guys are looking for some One Piece figurines, always check out Ross. This is this week's,
Oh wow.
and it is my delusional boyfriend from this week, Zoro. And he's got, does he have all three of his swords out?
No, he just has two.
Two out, and he's floating on a cloud. So this is actually from Egghead. That's an Egghead version.
Yeah.
And it's a two-piece. So I'll be on the lookout for this other character that he's battling in this one because I don't know if you guys can see this, but the characters, these two models, actually do like go next to each other on a shelf, and they look like they're sword fighting. So
That one,
pretty sick.
that character, I'm not going to get into because it's a little bit of a spoiler, but
Don't.
like it's fine. It's don't just don't worry about it.
But do you like Zoro?
Oh yeah,
You think
absolutely.
he's cutie?
No, yeah, and if you buy me the other character, that's awesome. But
I'm
like,
gonna try to find it.
I'm not gonna talk about that right now because it's
He's a bad guy. And so this, I found a couple figurines that are like this, where it's one of our favorites, and then you almost don't even want to spend the money on the other half of it because you're like, why would I want that villain? But it is a combat figurine, so it's kind of fun to watch, to
that's
see them on the shelf fighting each other.
that individual he's fighting is a child.
Well, it does kind of look like a child. See, there we go. Now we know a little bit about Zoro's code. Not even afraid to fight a child. I think he would fight a woman, a child, a man, anybody who comes up against him and wields a sword against him. He's going to fight back.
It's not just a child, but I'm not gonna spoil it.
That was half a spoiler.
No, it's a whole that specific character is a whole thing, and it really has opened up the eyes of the One Piece community.
Very exciting. Okay. And
It's not
kind of
it's
ominous.
not it's not yeah, it's not just one. It's a lot of
Ooh, so with all of that being said, make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. If you're listening to us on a podcast app, thank you so much for listening, and make sure to turn on your auto download so that you can hear if we ever do any bonus episodes. It will just be downloaded straight to your library, and it helps the podcast out so much. If you guys aren't following us on socials, we're on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. We have a Facebook. I'll be on there posting more, but if you want to follow us on there, you can do that as well. It's Delusional Boyfriend Book Club or Delusional BF Book Club everywhere. And until next time, remember, sometimes the delusion
is the solution.
Bye.
I got it right. Bye, guys.
Oh, and these episodes will always be on Tuesdays and main episodes on Thursdays.